Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss about the rest part of the chapter Nutrition in Plants. In the previous video we have already learnt about what is nutrition, types of mode of nutrition and the process of food formation, that is photosynthesis. So now moving forward for the rest part of the chapter, carbohydrate formed in the process of photosynthesis is stored by the leaves in the form of starch. The process photosynthesis is a very unique process on the earth, because in this process solar energy from the sun is converted into food by the leaves. For this we can also say that sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. We can prove this fact that sun is very much essential for the process of photosynthesis. If no photosynthesis is there will be no starch production. That means presence of starch indicates the occurrence of photosynthesis. And you have already learnt about the detection of starch on the leaves by using iodine solution. If somehow we can prove the presence of starch in the leaves for the presence of sunlight, it will automatically prove that photosynthesis takes place for the presence of sunlight. So for the proof we need two pots of plant, pot 1 and pot 2. Pot 1 should be kept under sunlight and pot 2 should be kept on dark room for a period of time 72 hours, that is for about 3 to 4 days. After the time period, 2 leaves from each of the pot should be plucked, and by dropping iodine solution to each of the leaves we can observe a difference in the color of the leaves. The leaf from the pot 1 will give bluish color, which indicates the presence of starch, and the leaf from the pot 2 will give no bluish color, that means there is no starch present. As starch present on the leaf from the pot 1 which was kept under the sunlight, so we can conclude that sunlight is necessary for photosynthesis. So that was about the proof. Now you may think there are so many plants which have red, yellow, brown colored leaves. So how they synthesize food without the green pigment? They also can synthesize their own food, because the large amount red, brown and other pigment mask the green color. Photosynthesis takes place in these leaves also. In pond, you may find some slimy green patches floating on surface of water. These are generally formed by the growth of organisms called algae. They also can prepare their own food because they have chlorophyll and they are green in color also. You have already learned that photosynthesis gives us carbohydrate, but other than carbohydrate there are some other components also, like proteins, fats. So how these are prepared? See, carbohydrate is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. This carbon, hydrogen, oxygen can synthesize other components also. But in case of proteins, proteins are nitrogenous substance. That means proteins contain nitrogen also. But there is no nitrogen in this list. So to get nitrogen, nitrogen needs to be taken from the air. In air, nitrogen present in the gaseous form. But plants cannot take gaseous nitrogen. In soil, there are some bacteria present which convert this gaseous nitrogen into usable form of nitrogen and release this nitrogen into the soil. From soil, plant absorb nitrogen by the roots. That is why farmers add fertilizers to the plants which contain rich amount of nitrogen. We have already learned about the types of mode of nutrition in previous video. Those are autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. You have learned about autotrophic mode, that is plant were synthesizing their own food. But there are some plants which cannot synthesize their own food. They have to depend on other for obtaining food. That means they will have heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Look at the picture given in your book. It's figure 1.5. Yellow wiry branch structure twining around another plant stem and branches. The wiry branch structure is a plant which is named as cascata or commonly named as amarbel, which does not have chlorophyll, so they cannot prepare their own food and has to depend on other plants, so they take ready-made food made by other plant by climbing on that specific plant. The plant on which they climb is called as host. Cascata deprives the host of valuable nutrients. That means it prevents the host from having necessary nutrients. That is why cascata is called as parasite. So we have got one kind of heterotrophic mode of nutrition, that is parasitic mode of nutrition. The organisms that live in or on the body of other organisms are called as parasites. Again, another category of plants with heterotrophic nutrition are insectivorous plants. These are green colored plants which can obtain their nourishment partly from atmosphere. That is, they can synthesize their own food but not fully, and partly they have to depend on others for their food. One example is pitcher plant. In this figure here you can see the pitcher plant. The leaves are modified into a jar-like structure, and the apex of the leaf, that is the tip of the leaf, is modified into a lid which can open or close the mouth of the jar-like structure. There are some hairs present inside the pitcher which helps in trapping insects. Whenever an insect comes closer to the mouth of the jar, the lid closes and the insect gets trapped. After trapping the insect, the pitcher secretes some juices which kill the insect, and from the insect, nutrients are absorbed by the plant. So such insect-eating plants are called as insectivorous plants. This kind of plants feed on insects because the plants grow in soil which do not contain sufficient amount of nitrogen. So to obtain nitrogen needed for their growth, they feed on insects. Till now, we have got parasites and insectivorous plants as some heterotrophs. Another kind of mode of nutrition is saprotrophic nutrition. The organisms that obtain nutrition from dead and decaying plant and animal matter are saprotrophs. You may have seen mushrooms in the markets, then you may have found fluffy umbrella-like patches in moist soils during the rainy season. These organisms are called as fungi. They have a different mode of nutrition. Different in the sense, they neither produce their own food themselves, nor they depend on other living organisms. Rather, they depend on dead and decaying matter. One activity can be done as by taking a piece of bread, then moisten it with water. When you leave it in a moist, warm place for 2 to 3 days, you will find some fluffy patches. These are fungi. These may be of different colors like white, grey, green. Colors depends on the type of fungi. Fungi also grow on pickles, leathers, clothes, and on other articles or substances that are left in hot and humid weather for a long period of time. The fungal spores are generally present in the air. When they land on wet and warm things, they germinate and grow. Again, fungi can be the cause of many diseases such as skin diseases, intestinal problems, etc. Some fungi are used as medicines. So we have understood about parasites, insectivorous, saprotrophs. Now, another type of heterotrophic nutrition is related to symbiosis. Some organisms live together and they share both shelter and nutrients. This relationship is called as symbiosis. Lichen is a combination of two organisms. One is alga and another is fungus. Alga contain chlorophyll pigment, so they can produce their own food, but fungus cannot produce their own food. The fungus provides shelter, water and mineral to the alga, and in return the alga prepares food and provide food to the fungus. So in this relationship, they both help each other. This relationship is called as symbiosis. Now moving to the next headline, how nutrients are replenished in the soil. We have already learned that plants absorb minerals and nutrients from the soil. So the amount of nutrients in the soil keep on declining. So to enrich the soil, we need to add fertilizers and manures from time to time. Fertilizers and manures contain nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, etc. Usually, croplands absorb a lot of nitrogen and the soil becomes deficient in nitrogen. So there is a bacterium, Rhizobium, which helps in enriching the soil with nitrogen. Rhizobium lives in the roots of gram, peas, mung, beans and other legumes and provide nitrogen to the plant by converting gaseous nitrogen into usable form of nitrogen, and again in return plants provide food and shelter to the bacterium. So this is another kind of symbiotic relationship. So overall we have learned that there are two types of mode of nutrition. These are autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophs carry out photosynthesis for food formation. Again, heterotrophs are four types: parasitic, insectivorous, saprophytic and symbiosis. So chapter 1 has been completed. Please take a homework. Solve question number 6, 7 and 8. In the next video, chapter 2 will be discussed.